Welcome to Volume.com All Access, a new way to get to know your favorite artists with monthly live streams from the road, contests, premium content, early access tickets, and exclusive rewards. Artists keep 100% of all tips. Our artist communities include Maggie Rose, Andy Frasco, Anders Osborne, and many more, streaming nightly. Volume.com All Access.
In love with you, in love with you. Walk a little taller. Here we go, everybody rock and roll.
Now, yeah. So you see, I love you so much that I just don't.
You never know who's going to show up on Volume.com, like Daniel Donato popping into Dee's Lounge on a random Thursday night. Tune in to see it live. Volume.com, streaming nightly.
That's sounding good, yeah. That's sounding really nice. And then the vocal, how's that? How do we do? Hello, oh my gosh. We're in a tunnel. It's on the Halloween setting. How are you today? Today, hope you're feeling well. You and your loved ones, hale and hearty. How may I help? How may I help? What's that you say? Things have gone to hell. State of the world, don't get me started. I'm here to help. I'm here to help. Give me a moment now. Let me collect my thoughts. Are you still with me? Oh, Angelie. Oh, Angelie. Don't ever leave me. Please tell me what you know, Angelie. Say you lost your dad. Only 52. Is there a dial tone? No, there's no dial tone. I'm here for you. I think I'd rather hear a little more of the acoustic and a little less vocal in the monitor. What's the address? Yeah, that's good. Okay, I think we're good to go. Okay.
two of us, it'll be better that way, you know. So yeah, I know. I never thought we would go back. You know, it's never over. Thanks. Yeah, I'm trying. Oh, that's very nice. Thanks. That's so nice of you to say. Ken Colson just said the same thing. Honestly, at 63, I often buy into the narrative of all my best days are behind me and my best work. So when I started to discover that I could do that, it's like, okay, maybe there's something else for me to learn. There's something else, you know.
Something maybe tied in words and word
Yeah. And it's really a nice part of that too is through my Instagram cartooning. I've met all these cartoonists. Most of who are all of whom are overseas, but it's a different community than the songwriting community and the journalism community. Yeah, they're super nerdy, really friendly, funny, and because I think we all know, unless you're like those 5 or 10 people that drop them in your place, everybody else has other jobs. There's no money involved, and you just do it because you get obsessed with it. So yeah, it's a kind of ragtag. Oh really? I went to the Society of Illustrators in New York when I was there. Probably pages, but they have a little headquarters up on the West Side that is at the museum. So they have original drawings by James Thurber. It's really cool. That's amazing.
Okay, I think it's time to get going here. So I'm Amy Rigby. Thanks for coming. It's nice to see some, I won't say old faces, I'm just going to say very friendly, happy faces that I remember. 20 was funny, 20 was tough, love, money, never enough. was a blur, him we heard. 30 was work, learning who to be 30. 40 was a field of dreams. 50 didn't fit, had to let out the seams. Hey, are there any, I see these lights with gels on them, and could we get those on? Oh, completely out of commission. Damn, I just thought that would be such a good moment in the show when those lights came on. Anyway, just pretend that. 20 was forever, 20 was friends. Thought we would never get to the end of 20. 30 was the best, 30 was the worst. Know I was blessed, thought I was cursed at 30. 40 was an anthem, key of E. 50 was a film by Mike Lee. Yeah. Hello, 60. Hello, 60. 20 was funny, 20 was tough. Love, money, never enough. 60. There's a real loud hum. I don't know if that's something to do with the lights, but there's a, no, maybe not. I don't know what that is. There was a sound check. We spared no expense. We did a sound check. Oh, okay. There, thank you. Okay, that's great. Because that was going to be really painful because I have a new book. This is my second memoir. It's called Girl to Country. The first one was Girl to City. And this one is Girl to Country. And yeah, it's interesting because the Southern Festival of Books is going on in Nashville this weekend. And I played at, it's a great event. I played at it a couple times back. I didn't have any books back then, but you know, now I'm in Dee's Lounge and they're over there with their books. That's just like timing has never been my strong suit. But the first book was about moving to New York City, because of coming of age, moving to New York from Pittsburgh in the 70s, and just becoming an artist. And I was in a, oh gosh, this is great. I really need those lights because I'm gonna try to read a few things, and it's really hard to see without lights and glasses. I was in a bookstore a couple months ago while I was finishing this book, looking at the wall of memoirs and autobiographies by musicians. You know, there's Keith Richards, there's Chrissie Hynde, there's all these heroes. And I was like, it's funny, a lot of people write a first one, a coming of age, but not many people write a second one. I don't know what compelled me to want to do Girl to Country, except I felt like I hadn't told the whole story in the first book. I wanted to talk about the middle part of an artist's life where you're just trying to keep going. And so that's Girl to Country. I was living in New York, and I was thinking, maybe I should move to Nashville. Maybe I'll be able to make a living as a musician if I come to Nashville. And so I started out with an epigraph by Rainer Maria Rilke. Perhaps it will turn out that you are called to be an artist. Then take that destiny upon yourself and bear it. its burden and its greatness without ever asking what recompense might come from outside. There's no taking the easy way out. There's no ending it now. We got a long way to go before we quit. The will to choose is a beautiful thing. Doesn't apply somehow. We gotta stay strapped in until we finish the trip. Get back in the car, you can't be walking out there alone. When we're riding together, we're at least a little closer to home. Get back in the car, this indecision is getting old. Gonna keep on driving till the wheels fall off the road. We've been going around and around, ain't getting anywhere. I guess the path of least resistance wasn't on the map. Nothing but gravel since we set out. We lost our way back there. I must have missed the sign when you were taking a nap. Get back in the car, you can't be walking out there alone. When we're riding together, we're at least a little closer to home. Get back in the car, this indecision is getting old. Gonna keep on driving till the wheels fall off the road. Gonna keep on driving till the wheels fall off the road. Gonna keep on driving till the wheels fall off the road. Thank you. Okay, so this is one of my early visits to Nashville. There were very few high-rises in Nashville in 1994, and only one I remember near Music Row. That's where Hazel Smith lived. I knew Hazel's work as a country music journalist. I felt her devotion to authentic songwriting ring true as a chuck wagon dinner bell whenever I caught up with her column in Country Music Magazine. She was so much more: publicist, songwriter, radio host, the grande dame of Music City, bluegrass king Bill Monroe's longtime lover. She'd coined the term outlaw country for Waylon Jennings and Willie Nelson. It's funny, I keep thinking someone's going to go, "That's not true." Because this is like the one place. I've done some readings around, in the Northeast and played in Chicago the other night, but this is the one place where people know some of these characters I'm talking about, maybe intimately. So anyway, you'll tell me and I'll make a correction if something's not accurate. Taking the elevator up to meet Hazel, I realized I'd never been in an elevator in Nashville before. Maybe I was coming up in the world. I'd traveled to the southern city a few times with my band Last Roundup to play gigs and record an album that was never released. I'd fallen in love with the town's country music mystique and down-home restaurants, and driving the streets felt an even greater connection to songs I already loved. Hank Williams' Lovesick Blues, Loretta Lynn's Fist City, Chris Christopherson's Help Me Make It Through the Night. My husband Will had wooed me with a cassette of George Jones and Tammy Wynette's duet, Golden Ring, written not by the married, then divorced, then remarried and re-divorced couple, but by songwriters Bobby Braddock and Ray Fanhoy. I lapped up every detail I could find about country songs and the people who made them, feeling sure If I'd been born a few decades earlier, I could have written at least a few of those hits myself. When Hazel Smith greeted me at the door of her apartment, I felt like I was meeting one of the Gabor sisters, if they'd been from Kentucky instead of Budapest. She was that expansive and dazzling. I remember smoked glass and white carpet. She may have been wearing a caftan. Hazel sat down regally behind her desk and popped my cassette into a player. "Tell me a little bit about yourself," she said. I gave her the condensed version. Born in the Pittsburgh suburbs, only sister to 4 brothers, Irish-American dad, Italian-American mom, Catholic school, big rock music fan, moved to New York City to attend art school in 1976, just as punk and CBGB exploded for a small segment of the population and took me with it. I said I was a lifelong reader who'd found my voice writing songs. I learned to play acoustic guitar and formed bands with friends for fun. I played clubs and made recordings, hoping for fame and fortune, or at least a life in music. Now, having a child made it all more urgent to make a living, create something that matters. Making work that mattered so much, I dumped my bands and was struggling with my marriage as I searched for a label to release my first solo album. I'm no Johnny or June come lately. I felt it was important she understand how much I loved country music, how I'd fallen in love with songwriting when I discovered old LPs by Hank Williams, Merle Haggard, and George Jones, as well as more obscure but essential artists like Skeeter Davis and the Louvin Brothers. I just want to earn a living, I wanted to shout, but I also want to be an artist, to create work no one else has even thought of doing. In addition, I'd like LOVE and or SEX to live in a decent home and to raise a happy child to adulthood, all while looking cool. That isn't too much to ask, is it? Is it? Hazel pressed play, and as she listened to my cassette, I silently willed, "Please think I'm good. Please think I'm good." I was always looking for someone to confirm what I felt deep down to be true, except on the days when I thought the opposite. "Whoever mixed these tracks is not your friend," Hazel said. I started to apologize, but she held up a hand. "Your voice is buried. They won't like that around here. We want to hear the lyrics, especially good ones." I held my breath, "Like yours." In the supermarket, we loved like it was something new. From day one, we could not be parted. You had me, and honey, I had you. We got a little place between us. Not much, but we could call it home. We lived on beer and kisses, all hopped up on love and foam. Get home from work, turn on the lights, sit on the couch, spend the whole night there. Get home from work, turn on the lights, sit on the couch, spend the whole night there. We grew a little couch potato. You said she looked just like me, but something had come between us. Beer and kisses didn't flow so free. At night, you were tired from working. You thought all I did was play. You drink your beer in the kitchen. I'd sit on the couch and pray. Get home from work, get in a fight, sit on the couch, spend the whole night there. Get home from work, get in a fight, sit on the couch, spend the whole night there. much to tell you. It's sad how we both forget the thing we had for each other way back when we first met. Let's put all the bad behind us. Tonight, when you come home, just bring me beer and kisses. We'll get high on love and foam. Get home from work, make it all right. Sit on the couch, spend the whole night there. Get home from work, make it all right. Sit on the couch, spend the whole night there. Bring me beer and kisses. Bring me beer and kisses. Beer and kisses. Bring me beer and kisses. Thank you. I plan to get this book out, like it's been in the works for a couple years, and I was aiming for September, October of 2025, and then about 6 months ago, my daughter was like, "Mom, I'm getting married." And she was planning this wedding for October, and I just like, I never thought she'd get married, and I never realized like what a huge thing in our lives it was going to be. And so it's all been going on, and she got married last week in Los Angeles, and she married a wonderful guy. I think probably a lot of you remember. You probably think she's still like 14. She's 37, and so she's married now, and it was really, great. Her dad and I walked her down, well, it wasn't an aisle, it was like a path in a park, public park in Los Angeles, and it was really sweet. But I noticed she didn't ask me to sing anything at the wedding. I think she was afraid I'd probably do something like this. You know I love you 100% of the amount I'm capable of loving you. And you know I need you to the fullest extent it's feasible for me to be needing you. I believe in us as much or maybe more than I've ever believed in anything before. In a world full of doubt, don't know what I'm sure about, but you don't suck, so I'm cynically yours. It's true I mistrust you, but don't take it the wrong way. I'm more gullible than I've ever been. And if they held a contest for the person most likely to fall for your bull, I'd probably win. The thought of us together doesn't fill me with dread. I can picture being with you till one or both of us is dead. At the end of the day, I've got nothing good to say, but you don't suck, so I'm cynically yours. I, your loving Amy Rigby, take you, insert name here, because frankly, I'm just too tired to look around anymore. You drive reasonably well, are no more deeper in debt than I am, have most of your own teeth and not much of a prison record, so that's good. Plus you claim to love my ass, and I have a tape to prove it, which makes me think maybe this thing really could work. However, in the event that our mutual disappointment outweighs the positive aspects of this union, we agree to part without the destruction of crockery, automobiles, or each other's good name in print, online, or in song. At the end of the day, I've got nothing good to say, but you don't suck, so I'm cynically yours. No, you don't suck, so I'm cynically yours. One more time. You don't suck unless I tell you to, so I'm cynically yours. Thank you. Here's another bit. So I got a divorce before I moved here to Nashville. Maybe, I thought, newly single and free from the weight of my romantic history, I could even find somebody. Love. I wanted it. My whole life I'd been a mass of hormones and hope, a lightning rod for romance, or barring that, some sex. It's what I lived for. My girlhood diary entries. Jeff broke up with me today. He still likes me as a friend. What did I do wrong? Sonny talked to me. He's cute. I think I like him. Weren't so different from my journals of the late 90s, where I alternated between pep talks about making money and reaching a bigger audience, and laments over men I either desperately wanted to be with or hoped to distance myself from. 2 entries from my journal in 1998. I feel so cheated and hurt, but I won't call. I'll just take it like a man. I find his lack of motivation pretty irritating, and his footwear. Still, I get so lonely sometimes. The upside of the obsessions, the crushes, the thrill of the chase, and the agony of disappointment was that I never ran out of things to write about. Like my 2nd grade kiss with Bobby Barnhart, where all the girls in my class wanted to know, how did it feel? I was still doing research for the whole class. Didn't everyone go through romantic turmoil? And if their lives were now too stable or streamlined for that kind of madness, didn't they at least want to remember how it felt? There was the drummer from Toledo I considered marrying before my divorce was even final. I was that happy to enjoy sex again, free from the weight of negotiation. And the mandolin player with a frame just built for Western shirts. I fell fast and hot, reason obscured by desire, while my family and friends shook their head. Here she goes again. And my patient daughter looked on with huge eyes and proffered a Simpsons quote, something about not being able to make friends with salad. Then there was Sam. Sam was a secret I kept to myself. Sam was the embodiment of everything that was always just out of reach. Music biz hotshot, West Coast sybarite, his nonchalance, a welcome relief from East Coast guilt and angst. There was something reptilian about him, like a lizard forged of sterling silver and fashioned into a belt buckle or bolo tie. He owned a few houses, didn't sweat about money or anything. He was talented, funny, and repelled drama. Being married had, for better and then worse, kept my raging libido in check. How many missteps can I blame on hormones? It all felt tied together, ambition, emotion, and estrogen, seesawing with testosterone, to create a tsunami I was always fighting through to stay the course. I envied Sam his detachment. If I couldn't be him, I only wished I could have him. Fuck you, Sam, I thought. Why won't you just love me so we can both be happy forever, or at least for now? You say there's nothing in the future for us. This lust is just a passing thing. You tell me late at night while lying in bed that we're not really happening. You tell me this is nothing real, that we can touch but we can't feel. Let's leave reality out of this, shall we? No need to mention it, it's always here. magicians. We make reality disappear. We're really something when we take off our clothes. I wish that we could stay this way. It's not a healthy way to live, I suppose. At least that's what I was raised to say. You tell me life is just unfair, but I can hear that anywhere. Let's leave reality out of this, shall we? No need to mention it, it's always here. Stick the rhetoric with those old politicians. We're magicians. We make reality disappear. Suspend belief, it's a must do. My fantasy, I don't trust you, but I won't hold it against you. As long as you hold me against you. You tell me this is nothing real, that we can touch but we can't feel. Let's leave reality out of this, shall we? No need to mention it, it's always here. Give the cold hard facts back to the mathematicians. We're magicians. We make reality disappear. Stick the rhetoric with those slick politicians. We're magicians. We make reality disappear. Thank you. You say you'd like to kill the man who broke my heart. You don't think he should be allowed to live. You say you want to shoot the dude who screwed me up. Me, I'm trying so hard to forgive. But here's his address, here's his picture, here's the make and model of his car. He works until 4:30, then he hangs out at the topless bar with a girl on each arm. If he should come to harm, just keep it to yourself. Remember how he cheated and he lied to me. You told me that it makes you lose your head. I see they're pouring concrete on Route 33. I don't believe you do those things you said. But here's his address, here's his picture, here's his pager number and his cell. He works out at the health club and he really yourself. I like the way that you take care of me. I like the way you say that you'll take care of things. Ba 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 ba. But here's his address, here's his picture, here's the make and model of his car. He works until 4:30, then he hangs out at the topless bar with a girl on each arm. If he should buy the farm, just keep it to yourself. Keep it to yourself. Keep it to yourself. Thank you. Thanks. I want to give a shout out to Bill DeMaine. He and I wrote that song together. It was really fun and also just like made me feel good to revisit some of these times and people of my life. You know, I think I kind of, well, if you read the book, you'll see I kind of left Nashville under a cloud of my own making. And I kind of, you know, it was really kind of healing. I know it sounds kind of corny, but it was healing to just kind of think like, wow, I wrote all these songs here. I made all these just great connections and collaborations with people. It was really just like such a positive, powerful experience in my life. I mean, as I was coming down from Chicago to play this show, I was like, is it really a good idea? Will anyone be there? And then I arrived at Nashville Airport, and the first thing I heard over the loudspeaker was, if someone lost a key ring attached to a spatula, come to the information desk. And, you know, that just kind of, I was like, wow, I like Nashville. I don't know anywhere else you would hear that over a public address system. And then I was like driving. I had to go pick up a box at the UPS store in East Nashville, and that was its own experience. As I was driving back, I was like, I just kind of want to swing through downtown. I was kind of looking for Bill DeMaine's Walk in Nashville tour group, just thinking, oh, wouldn't it be fun if I just like shouted out the, hey, asshole, out the window of the car at him if he was leading this tour as he does so masterfully. But instead, I saw all this line of guys in black T-shirts, long hair, waiting outside Nashville Auditorium. I was like, I want to know what show that is. Should I be going to that show? And I looked it up, and it was this group, Mudvayne. Is anybody? Anyway, they were sort of Slipknot adjacent, maybe. I thought of going to that just to have this experience, and then I thought, you know what? Maybe I should just go to the Grand Ole Opry. I found a cheap ticket. I think I was the only loser by myself at the Opry last night, but it was a magical experience. It was kind of a tribute. Well, it was a tribute. It's a 100-year anniversary, a tribute to Minnie Pearl and Roy Acuff. And there was Bill Anderson, Connie Smith, Patty Loveless, who I've waited, you know, my whole adult life to, you know, I've loved her records for years, never seen her in person before, and Vince Gill, and they, you know, and then they sang together at the end, and it really just reminded me, like, why I came here in the first place. Just that like harmony, the songs, just the sincerity. So anyway, there was this lady in front of me. She was really having a great time, and I really like appreciated how she was feeling every emotion, and I felt like a kindred spirit. Well, I got back to my hotel, and you know, someone like stopped the door of the elevator, it was her. She had just kind of randomly gone to the show just as I had. She was the other loser who was there by herself. We were staying like next to each other in the hotel. It was just, and we just like held each other's hands, hugged each other, just talking about what an amazing experience it was. So I felt like, you know, just, and now this is just the icing on the cake to have you guys all here. So, and to get to play. I feel like, you know, a lot of the people here, you probably saw me at my very worst, and also like, you know, helped me to kind of reach for some kind of best. I can't believe you're back again. I'll tell you now, like I told you then, we're through. We had our time, we had our fun, put a fork in us, there's no more me and you. You're looking like you've still got plans, but God laughs at a hopeful man. Believe me, and I won't repeat. Restraining order says 50 feet. I'm keeping to the straight and narrow. Don't trip over that wheelbarrow. Go sell crazy someplace else. I'm full up here in these bricks. Won't lay them sell. I'm building me a patio, got a grill and Pinot Grigio, it's cool. And I ain't saying we weren't real, I felt the feel, hey, we've all peed in the pool. Did you push too hard, so I pushed back, stop talking about the things I lack. As Yvonne said, go buy a vowel, while you're at it, hand me that trowel, I'm working on my future days. You're not in them, so go away. You might try yoga, reading helps. I'm kind of busy, these bricks won't lay themselves. These bricks won't lay themselves. Some things aren't meant to last forever. I haven't got the time to fight. You say we ought to be together, but if it ain't right, it ain't right. It's 10 years on, I'm chilling here. I admit I shed a tear or two. Was then and this is now. Folks stopped asking what happened to you. Sometimes it's like you're still around, especially when the rain comes down. The earth reveals all that is hid. And I remember what I did. I didn't know I was so strong. You might say things went kind of wrong, but a woman's gotta save herself. That's what it took, and these bricks won't lay themselves. These bricks won't lay themselves. Dig it. These bricks won't lay themselves. Thank you. Thanks. That's on my latest album, which is called Hang In There With Me, and that song's called Bricks. I think that's maturity, when you learn to carry out your own murders by yourself. You don't need to talk a man into doing them. This is I made my first album, The Sugar Tree, here in Nashville in the year 2000 with the great Brad Jones as producer. This was recorded at Alex the Great Studios, and it was a really wonderful experience. Then it was time to make the record cover. I envisioned the Sugar Tree cover as one of those 1960s Countrypolitan LPs you'd stumble across in a thrift store, with a soft color portrait and a natural setting. Photographer Jim Harrington, who looked like James Dean's brainy but slightly debauched older brother, and had taken pictures of, he's in Rome right now, or else I think he would have been. He took this photo on the cover of the book, actually. It's a great. He'd taken pictures of some of my heroes like Merle Haggard and Tom Petty. He lived just down the street from East Nashville's Shelby Park. A little research, pre-Google, that likely involved asking one of my music writer pals, pinpointed this bucolic setting only minutes from the liquor stores and hot chicken places of Gallatin Pike as a frequent backdrop for country album cover shoots in the past. Jim recommended a makeup artist, and she met me at his house on a hot afternoon to prepare me for the shoot. The April humidity made my face pour oil and frizzed my hair. I was okay in Nashville when it wasn't the sticky season, but since spring down south started in late February and summer lasted until about the beginning of November, I was finding there weren't many weeks out of the year when looking well-groomed was a possibility. "Don't worry, we'll fix you right up," the gorgeous young woman said as I settled into one of Jim's dining chairs. I picked up a fitted dress on sale at the mall, not realizing until I put it on outside of the air-conditioned store that it was 100% polyester, causing me to sweat and practically break out in a rash. I'd been happy with hair and makeup people's work in the past, making me look like myself, only better, so I relaxed as the makeup artist sponged, brushed, curled, and penciled me. She applied lip liner and lipstick, the final touches, and stood back to assess her handiwork. Then she held up a mirror for me to admire the results. I took a deep breath, then wondered why Joan Crawford in Whatever Happened to Baby Jane was staring back at me. My brows were double their usual width. My mouth looked like those wax lips kids used to wear at Halloween. I thought my eyes were pretty sultry, but was too horrified to keep looking at myself. Murmuring a few words of appreciation, I handed her a check, and as soon as she'd driven away, went into the bathroom to scrub everything off and start over again with whatever was in my makeup bag. Maybe it'd be dark enough by the time we reached Shelby Park that my face wouldn't really have to show in the photo. The sun was going down as Jim and I drove into the park, and there wasn't much time to look around for a suitable spot before it turned into night. We found a wooded area above the Little League field where there was a game in full swing, the lights just coming on. I heard shouts and cheers from the young players and their parents as I sat down next to a tree. Do all other female artists go through this, I wondered? I thought how the successful ones had those perfect attributes of womanhood, the obvious boobs and beauty to show off, while I was stuck with the flawed human bits like greasy skin and limp hair. Why couldn't I have just been a guy? I knew from having brothers and boyfriends and even having been married for years to a man that vanity and wobbly self-esteem aren't only for women. But I think of the cover of Crosby, Stills and Nash, the guys clearly rolling up as they were to lounge on a beat-up old couch. I aspired to self-acceptance, but for that moment just wanted to look attractive. "Your legs look great," said Jim. I hitched up my dress a little. The field lights shone on the gold platform shoes a friend gave me years ago, swearing they'd once belonged to a Hollywood screen goddess. I gazed off into the distance like I was searching for love, success, anything to lift me out of driving all day to play for 15 people, a grubby road atlas clutched in my right hand. I prayed for that magical combination of luck and timing that would send my songs, this latest recording, like a Little League home run, up through the air, into the ears and hearts of people, lots of them, who'd see themselves in the lyrics and find some transcendence in the music. If I wished hard enough, it almost felt possible. I gave my heart away 1,000,000 times, spent my life making rhymes, here I'm doing it again. I lost my shirt and stuck my neck on the block, like other folks take a walk, hello, I'm doing it again. I should be kicking back, instead of gearing up to take another crack. I'm too old to be so crazy. I go my own way till the setting sun, end up back at square one, and here I'm doing it again. I face the future and I say, so what? Give in and trust my gut. Good God, never too tired to try what I already did. I'm too old to be so crazy. The definition of insanity, according to Albert E, is to repeat the same action, expecting it all to end differently. That sounds a lot like me. The only satisfaction is in a little more traction. I tell the world to show me what it's got. Can't help but stir the pot, and here I'm doing it again. Give me another grab at the brass ring. I'll gamble everything. Hell yeah, I'm doing it again. Got my back against the wall. I won't stop kicking till I've risked it all. I'm too old to be so crazy. This way of life, it never made much sense. But in my own defense, I didn't choose it, just picked me. I tried 1,000 times to give it up, fall down and fuck it up. You can call it a victory. Trust the mystery. I'm too old to be so crazy. I'm too old to be so crazy. I gave my heart away 1,000,000 times. Spent my life making rhymes. Here I'm doing it again. I thought I'd do this one also. That's a new song from Hang In There With Me. And I thought I'd do this one because I saw this great clip of Bob Dylan in Stockholm last night playing Every Grain of Sand. And just watch it. It just like, he's out there. It just always gives me such comfort to know he's out there playing another gig. And it just sounded, his piano solo is, he's searching for something. And, he doesn't quite get there, but it's just like, it just feels so good. It feels so good to know that you can be doing it that long and still kind of not have it all together. I love that. I'm a sinner and a liar, but I do the best I can. Yeah, I'll set myself on fire like a good song and dance man. I am shameless, I am grateful, on the road to somewhere else. And sometimes I play the martyr, but I mostly play myself. And I welcome all you ravers. Every straight guy needs a kook. I'm Bob Dylan in Dubuque. I'm Bob Dylan in Dubuque. I was flying in the 90s. I could really feel my oats. And to think I'd thrown the towel in, but I got restless raising goats. I was headstrong, I was aimless. Hey, it happens to the best. But I knew the quest was endless. Jesus help me do the rest. A piece looking for a puzzle. Broken jukebox seeks a juke. I'm Bob Dylan in Dubuque. I'm Bob Dylan in Dubuque. So I'll take on any comers, any flannel shirted clown. I'll keep rolling out the numbers, 'cause this ain't just any town. Running headlong through the cornfield, but by night I hit the bars. And I'll aim this Telecaster and I'll shoot it at the stars. Don't Don't you touch my silver snakeskin. Don't you scuff my cowboy boot. I'm Bob Dylan in Dubuque. 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 Thank you. Is it okay if I read something else? I haven't read this one yet, but I thought, well, I'm here in Nashville, and well, I was here 2 years ago for Americana Fest, and that was the last time I was here. I'll just read a little bit of this. One of the best things about the second place I found to live in Nashville was it had a front porch swing. If I could have sat on that swing forever with my daughter next to me, or at least in the house, happily listening to music or watching TV, everything would have been perfect. Except I wanted more, so much more. I don't know how much of this to read. Out on the front porch swing, the weather's still warm. This was on Grantland Avenue in Woodland and Waverly. Out on the front porch swing, the weather's still warm, though it was autumn. I read or wrote in my journal and swing. Hazel was 12, starting 7th grade at MLK. Swing. I wrote song after song, played gig upon gig, shopped at Kroger, bought a rake. My daughter took the upstairs bedroom at first. It had its own bathroom and loads of storage under the eaves. I was in the downstairs bedroom with a door that opened onto the backyard I rarely took advantage of. Not sure how to make the outdoors nicer with lawn furniture or plants or flowers. I'd moved from New York City, so I'd never had any outdoor space before. Then there was the intense humidity and the bugs. Eventually, we swapped. Hazel moved downstairs, and I took the larger room at the top, which gave me space to set up my 4-track and writing desk. I loved looking out the window there onto Grantland below. I'd see my neighbor across the street start his car each morning by running alongside, and when the motor caught, he'd jump in and drive off. I cheered him on every time, and this made me feel part of the neighborhood, even though we never met. Well into fall, I walked in the early morning before the heat and humidity set in. I drove out to Radnor Lake, or traversed the alleys around 8th Avenue, climbed up towards 12 South, past Dolly Parton's compound that looked like a girly Alamo, and down around Sevier Park, breathing the sweet, doughy scent from Communion Bread Company on Gale Lane. I circled back past the Acuff Rose building out on Franklin and beyond. Maybe I'd imagined a different life for myself in Nashville, one where I was a professional songwriter, driving a better car, looking groomed and professional. Instead, I wore sweats and grubby old Keds and drove a $1,000 minivan. But most mornings, I sat out on the front porch swing with a mug of coffee and thought, maybe today I'll write a song that changes everything. And yeah, the last time I was here 2 years ago for Americana Fest, I left here with 2 things: a case of COVID and a new song, because I stopped by Grantland and just like sat in my car right out front, and this I think maybe the emotion that I got from this song kind of pushed me over the edge and made me like lowered my immunities and made me catch COVID because I hadn't had it before. I think that can happen. See, I don't even know if it's a good song, but it just captures that feeling of sitting there. I drove by our old house today, man, but it made me sad. Not in a bad way, just think about the life we had. So I drove by our old house today. I saw they built a fence and hung up a British flag. Remembered those crazy days when both of us were on the rag. I wouldn't want that back, not even a little bit. Well, maybe a little bit. So I drove by our old house today. And the place next door was bigger than before. Bigger than you'd want. Gentrification font. And the front porch swing was this modern thing, painted glossy white. It didn't feel right, it didn't feel right. But when I drove by our old house today, I sat and I said a prayer for the people living there, that they'd have their own happiness. Looking back, we had that too, when it was me and you, 14 and 42. That's why I drove by our old house today. Thank you. Okay, I'm just going to read this one more. I did a lot of touring when I lived here, and as the late, great David Olney used to say, anytime I need some time to myself, I just book a gig in Nashville. It kind of made it imperative to just like get out and go out and play to try to find an audience. I started going to the UK because they speak English very well there. They seem like they invented it, I guess. Compared to my US touring with frequent domestic flights, rental cars, and decent hotels, UK dates were a much leaner affair. I tried to put Bob Newworth's advice into practice. When we played in the round at the Bluebird a few years back, he'd said, just go by train with your guitar. That approach wasn't possible in America, but elsewhere, why not? I traveled with my acoustic guitar on my back, a rolling suitcase full of CDs to sell, and a duffel bag of clothes over my shoulder. I was in reasonable shape at the start of the run, but after only a few days, on and off trains and up and down stairs, I was in a giddy combination of fit and exhausted, like a recruit after the first week at boot camp. On board the trains, I fell asleep, my bangs cushioning my forehead when it bumped against the train window. Shouldn't I have been enjoying the scenery? Newcastle, Leicester, Nottingham and Brighton, green fields and sheep. I spoke to no one until I arrived in whatever town I was playing. Sometimes the promoters met me at the station, usually a freezing, cavernous, antique structure with birds swooping around the ceiling. I was shocked the first time a promoter took me to the venue by bus, then felt like a spoiled American brat for assuming everyone drove or owned a car. Andy Richardson met me at the train station in Hull in the northeast of England. Andy had promoted the show I played there with Sid Griffin. Was it really just a little over a year ago? The Hull audience seemed to like the humor in my songs. There was a definite lack of pretension there that reminded me of my hometown of Pittsburgh. It was a city of underdogs. Underdogs like underdogs. We ordered tea and biscuits in the station hotel bar to warm up. From what I could tell, Hull was almost always cold and wet, but this day felt colder and wetter than usual. The newspaper announced snow was coming. We took the Beverly Road bus along to the hotel where I'd stayed my last time in town. Run by two brothers, it was an old school bare bones B&B with toilet and shower in the hallway, a sink in the room, along with twin bed, small TV, an electric kettle, teacup, and more biscuits. I appreciated the biscuits. You'd never get those in an American budget motel. There were modest perks to playing in Britain. I showered down the hall and blew my hair dry in my room. The light bulb couldn't have been more than 40 watts, but I aimed for as much glamour as I could muster because that night, a genuine pop idol would be in attendance at my gig. Reckless Eric had his own performance scheduled the 2 following evenings there in Hull and had agreed to spin records before and after my show. Andy, the promoter, was aware that Eric's classic Whole Wide World had found its way into my set. The underground romantic anthem possessed magical powers to turn things around. It also had a way of signaling indie credibility, that secret handshake. The sharing of music via the internet was a new idea, so finding old cool stuff still took a certain level of commitment. Playing Eric's song, shrugging into it like the leather jacket and shades he wore on one of his record sleeves, let me display a different persona, the willful misfit. That was the beauty of a cover song. So that night in Hull, in addition to the snow, he was coming. When I arrived at the venue, Eric was running late. I set up my equipment and grabbed a quick curry at the Indian restaurant next door. People entered the function room above the pub and found seats on the short red velvet stools around little round tables. A hooded figure entered. He was covered in ice and snow and carried a crate of records. Eric pulled the hood back, revealing snow in his graying brown hair. See, I let Eric read this draft and just to make sure there was nothing he disagreed with. And the only things he said was I couldn't use the word phlegm, which I had used in another part. He said phlegm should never be in a book. And I had said he revealed snow in his sandy hair, but he said he never had sandy hair, that it was brown and that it was turning gray. Anyway, so I went with this, but I wish I had said what looked to me like sandy colored hair. The snow began melting down his cheeks as he told a story about being the last car allowed across the Humber Bridge. He described sheets of ice falling all around his car, how a final shard descended just before they closed the bridge entirely. He made it sound like a wonderful adventure and supernatural act of gallantry. Eric had history with Hull, having attended the art college there back in the 70s, and he'd played early gigs right in this very room. People of Hull considered him one of their own. He began setting up turntables. He just moved from France. I think he lives on a boat, said Andy. I heard Eric drop the needle on You're the One That I Want from the Grease soundtrack. He wasn't too cool to think Olivia Newton-John and John Travolta were cool. My interest in him was sealed. I played my set, and with the snow falling outside and it being a weeknight, the show felt like a meeting of a secret society. I asked Eric to come up on stage with me to play Whole Wide World. He unpacked his microfret guitar, which was the same horrible but wonderful green color as the Greco Electric I used for band gigs back in the States. I felt I'd met a kindred spirit. I started playing the song and saw Eric craning his neck, looking at my hands on the frets. I transposed the song's key from E to A. This song has 2 chords, he said to me, and both of yours are wrong. We made it through okay. I apologized afterwards for ambushing him. After almost 2 years in Nashville, a town that owed a big part of its identity to people who write songs, I would have felt weird not inviting the songwriter of a classic up for everyone to celebrate. Eric was amused. We made a vague and general plan to meet up again, hopefully soon. I slept in the twin bed accompanied by I said goodbye and headed back to my room at the Mayfair Hotel, where I slept in my twin bed accompanied by the snores of a man on the other side of the wall. Next day, I caught a train to Doncaster and another to Newcastle, then the train down to London, where I said I'd been in Hull the previous night to elicit a guaranteed laugh and nod of respect from the audience. I didn't play Whole Wide World, thinking it was being played as well as it possibly could be that night by the man who wrote the song in the room where he first played it. I hoped I could get to know him better. It didn't seem that crazy to imagine. If a song brought us together the first time, maybe gigs or friends or the internet would intervene and make it happen again. The world wasn't that big. And we've been together 20 years now. And this is the rest of the story. Sort of. It was a cold December night. I was sorting out my life. You were heading for a mess, but you didn't know it yet. As I pushed through the crowd, you were turning your amp up loud. Then our eyes met. Do you remember that? Then 11 months go past. I'm stuck in Cleveland pumping gas. When you called me on the phone, said you were back to living on your own. I celebrated in my head, laughing at everything you said. Then the battery went flat. Do you remember that? Do you remember Glasgow and that pub we went to? Everyone said that I should stay away from you, but I didn't listen. You took me out for a steak and we heard P.P. Arnold. You drove your car the wrong way down a one-way street. Then we were kissing. Okay, I made that last part up. It wasn't until we next met up. You had me over for some tea, and we played guitar, singing Bobby McGee, danced to Crazy Elephant, wondering where the bad times went. You changed my life in seconds flat. Do you remember that? Do you remember Glasgow and that pub we went to? Everyone said that I should stay away from you, but I didn't listen. You took me out for a steak and we heard P.P. Arnold. You drove your car the wrong way down a one-way street. What am I missing? The way it all began in Hull. You wrote a song so magical. I learned it halfway around the world and wish that I could be your girl. Yola Tango liked it too, but as for Je t'aime moi non plus, that New Year's Eve they backed us up. We really fucked it up. Together we were crap. Do you remember that? I can't believe they asked us back. They don't remember that. Thank you so much. I'm going to play one more for you, and then I think, you know, I've got some books. I've got tote bags that I screen printed the other day, and records, and really appreciate Dee's Country Lounge for having me. Thank you guys for coming. Hope I can. Well, Eric and I moved to England. We moved to England a year ago, but I hope I can come back soon and hang out a little bit longer here in Nashville. It's been really great to be here. I took a walk in a small town Sunday morning just to see what was going on. Sat watching two guys fishing in the river running through like there was nothing wrong, nothing wrong. They had their lines in the water 10 feet apart, beer guts, t-shirts, religion, but I'm trying to pray. And I never liked fishing, but I wanted to stand up and say, hey, I love you, you're perfect, don't ever change, don't ever change. Hey, I love you, you're perfect, don't ever change. I picked my daughter up at school last week. She had her headphones on, she barely said hello, and all I wanted was to hug her, smother her with kisses, but I was cool, like hi there, how did it go? She had chipped nail polish writing on her hand. She was nodding her head to her favorite band, staring into space like she was all alone. But I didn't take it personal, it meant that I was home. And I said, hey, I love you, you're perfect, don't ever change, don't ever change. Hey, I love you, you're perfect, don't ever change, don't ever change. I'm holding on to anything that's good in this world. There's a lot that's good in this world. I saw my baby sitting there at the breakfast table, his hair a mess and he forgot to shave. And I wish that he would get up, make it all better, stop drinking so much, learn how to behave. Then the radio was playing a Chuck Berry song. He was looking at me, asking what was wrong. I made a list of the things I could say, but he gave me a wink and it all went away. I told him, hey, I love you, you're perfect, don't ever change, don't ever change. Hey, I love you, you're perfect, don't ever change, don't ever change. Thank you very much. Thanks, Dees. Thanks, guys. Got the books and everything over here.
Pardon me? I want to buy a book. Oh, yeah.
You weren't co-writer on Magicians? Huh? You weren't co-writer on Magicians?
No, I recorded it. Yeah, we recorded it at my house.
Ah.
At least one of the versions.